It appears that the Minnesota Timberwolves' dumpster fire sans Derrick Rose's entire season, well, it's gonna continue. We have just received a word, and this is via John Krasinski, not Jim in the office, saying Jimmy Butler is taking the next step in a 6-week-long process aimed at getting the All-Star out of Minnesota by sitting tonight against Utah, and it could lead to an extended absence, league sources tell me, and Shams. So this is very important because now Jimmy Butler is holding the entire deck, saying, oh, you haven't traded me yet, Glenn Taylor? Well, I'm just gonna sit. I don't care. I'm just gonna sit and wait until some team makes a move for me, or any trade that you think will suffice in that team obtaining my services, because this ain't it.
Right.
This ain't what I want to do. So then Zach Lowe and Adrian Wojnarowski, the NBA messiahs, were on the Lowe Post, and here's what they had to say about Jimmy Butler and when he may potentially be moved.
The fact that they're not only are they not winning, they're not playing well at all. They're getting booed every night at home. No one's getting booed more than the coach. And so I think that more than anything is probably going to speed up a conclusion to this. I don't think this is going to last until, like, I'd be shocked if he was there at Thanksgiving, and it just feels like it'll be sooner. And
interesting, you've
got other teams, and as it's not going well for others, and pressure mounts in other places to maybe do something.
So he's giving them a deadline, not even a deadline. In his own head, he's saying, not even a month, and something's gonna give. Now, what has leaked, and then we'll get Denise's take on this, is that he went on to say, and this is via Rob Kimball, that the Rockets wanna find a way to get him, and the 4 first-round picks are fluctuating. 4 if it's Brandon Knight, 2 to 3 if it's Eric Gordon. Man, or Eric Gordon is really overvalued right now. Like, I like Brandon Knight, I like Eric Gordon more, but to knock off 2 first-round picks because it's Eric Gordon, like, let me just be real about this. To go on the counter side, would you trade 2 first-round picks for Eric Gordon? So why are teams knocking off 2 first-round picks? It's just amazing to me. Okay, so with all that being said, what do you think happens?
Yeah, do I want him to go on to the Sixers? Do I see that even making it,
Sixers
working out?
or another team, I don't know.
I don't see that working out. I feel like it's just a rumor that's going. It's not necessarily something that really fits well. The guy's gonna be 30 next year already.
30, yes.
He's already built kind of this weird reputation where he's like a diva if he doesn't get what he wants. And it's fair to say that there's a lot of players out there that are like that know what they deserve and won't stop until they get that. With all that being said, I don't think he's handling it the way that he probably could. I feel like it's definitely one of those things where I get it. He has a chip on his shoulder, but it's really time to like shape up and figure out another way to get what you want, because clearly this egotistical my way or the highway, or give me what I want or I won't play, isn't working out for him or for the organization that he's playing with.
What's the correct way to handle it though? Like, that's my question. Because like, he doesn't want to be there, and like, I get it.
Right.
The problem is he leaked all of this, and if it were just, and granted, there's probably so much more behind the scenes, but what we do know is that Jimmy expressed how much he doesn't want to be in Minnesota. If he didn't say that, then the leverage would still be on Minnesota's side, and he probably would have been traded by now. But because every NBA team knows that he's unhappy, they're like, oh, we don't have to give up anything.
Right.
We'll just wait. How many games are we in? 10?
Right.
We'll wait 70 more games. Minnesota may not make the playoffs, or if they do, who knows if he'll even play. And then it's like, oh, okay, we'll just wait till next offseason because he doesn't want to be there.
Right. And the fact that, again, he's getting older, so it's gonna be cheaper for whatever team to get it. It doesn't help. But I guess to answer your question, how should he handle it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those cases where you're right. He said that he doesn't want to be there, and maybe it's actions speak louder than words. Show that it's not about where you play, as long as you're doing what you want to do. You're getting the job done. You don't have to like the organization to give a performance.
Right.
I feel like that can get him a little closer to other teams noticing, okay, he doesn't want to be there. He clearly has a lot of value. We can offer him a little more than what they're gonna be offering him in the offseason.
Well, here's what the Rockets potentially are offering them. This is via the Star Tribune. Shams later reported that the deal also would include 2 injured Rockets players, Brandon Knight and Marcus Chris. You might remember him as being a lottery pick, the latter. Shams indicated in a video that the Wolves have no interest in taking on those 2 players, but it at least set the parameter for an interesting deal. Per the NBA's strange and complicated CBA, they are eligible to have their salaries aggregated as part of a trade package 2 months after the completion of that deal. Lastly, just spitballing here, says Michael Rand of the Star Tribune. But what about Chris, Eric Gordon, who the Wolves reportedly covet in any deal, and 3 first-round picks? That gives you a young asset, a player to help you still be competitive this year, and a lot of potential future help, as in the 3 picks. Look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I do not believe that any team is going to mortgage their own future unless it is the Houston Rockets giving up 4 first-round picks, which, for whatever reason, if Jimmy were to stay on, he'd be 34 or 35 at that time. How much gas would he have left in the tank?
Right.
Who the hell knows? But what we do know is Houston, for those 4 seasons of having potentially Chris Paul, if he stays, James Harden, Jimmy Butler, Clint Capella, that's a really, really good starting 4 that'll at least get the receiving draft picks in the first round in the 20s.
Right.
So it's not like they're completely valued as well. My last point is I have no idea what's going to happen with this.
I have no idea what's going to
can't
happen.
predict it.
What would be interesting is if they were to if they were to build something around Jimmy Butler with the Sixers, because you're right, we don't know how he's going to be performing when he gets older, 34, whatever. But the guy's 30. He still has clutch. He has a really good performance, and it's not to discredit his game. He clearly has a lot to offer. He hasn't reached like the low ends of his potential. If the Sixers were to bring him in, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. It would be interesting. It'd be interesting, I guess. I mean, but they could, I don't know, they could build something more around him.
They could, but I think at this point, what they see is, well, he's a free agent next year and we don't have to give up any of our young assets in order to get him. They don't have to give up a Zaire Smith. They don't have to give up a Markelle Fultz, which would absolutely be thrown in if Minnesota wanted to trade Jimmy Butler at this point.
Unless they need like a killer, like someone who's like a killer, has killer instincts, and that's something that I don't think the Sixers have right now.
No, definitely not. But let us know who you believe Jimmy Butler is going to. Comment section below, subscribe to TYT Sports. If you made it to the end of this video, mazel tov. If you want to see more, hit the bell and hit subscribe. Why don't you?